Right, so expanding on what you've looked at in the last lesson by multiplying kind of a number by one bracket, what we're going to look at today is multiplying pairs of brackets. So this is where we have literally two brackets multiplied together. Okay, so some of you might have done this already, but it's going to be very, very important from now on in maths. So I'll give you some context later on. Just now, I just want you to get used to the kind of the process behind doing it. Okay, but it is a very important thing. It's going to come up a lot throughout National 5 and then into higher and even advanced higher if you go that far. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. It's going to be this kind of question. So where you literally have two brackets side by side. Obviously, if things are side by side, same way if we have 2a, it just means 2 times by a. If we have a bracket alongside another bracket, then it just means those two brackets multiplied together. So what we're doing here is x plus 7 multiplied by x minus 2. Right? It's important to remember that. And throughout all this, what you are doing is you are multiplying. Okay, so we just want to find a simple way of taking one bracket and multiplying it by the other. Right, this is a more straightforward example, this one. You can have different letters, you can have numbers in front of the letters, and we can, later on, we move on to where we don't just have two things in the brackets. So it's important as well to look at this stage is that we have two things in each bracket. So what I'm going to show you just now only really works if we do have the two things in a bracket. So what I mean by that is an x and a 7, two things, x and a minus 2 in the other one. Okay, so the two things in each bracket means that we can use FOIL. Okay, so some of you again might have heard this already, but basically what it means, what is telling you the order in which you want to multiply. Okay, and just basically each letter stands for something. Okay, so it's the first, outside, inside, last. So FOIL. If you remember FOIL, then this should be straightforward enough, and then it just becomes second nature to you after that. Okay, so when you see the situation that you're asked to multiply them together, just think FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. What these things mean, okay, is the different terms that you're going to multiply together. Okay. Right, so if I show you this, so I'm going to go through this in quite a lot of detail, this one. So you can skip this if you've already kind of done this. If you haven't, you can keep coming back to this page. I'm not going to go into quite as much detail with the examples that are going to follow this as I do with this one. So keep referring back to this one if you need to, okay? But the point is, if you're asked to multiply something like this together, what I suggest you do is you think FOIL, right? So what that means is that we're going to multiply together the first term in each bracket. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to multiply the first term in each bracket. So what that means here, first term in each bracket, x is the first term in this bracket, x is the first term in this bracket. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to multiply them together, and x times x gives me x squared. It's not 2x, it's x squared. Okay, right, so that's me done the f. Now I'm moving on to the O, which means I multiply together the outside terms in each bracket. So what we mean by the outside terms is the terms on the outside of the kind of the whole thing. So what that means is the x and the minus 2. And it's important to remember this is a minus 2. It's not just a 2, it's a minus 2. Okay, so I'm going to take the x and the minus 2, multiply them together, and I'm going to get minus 2x. Okay, so that's the f and the O taken care of. Now I move on to the I, which is the inside term. Okay, so the inside term in the brackets, if x and the minus 2 were the outside terms, then the 7 and the x were the inside terms. Take them, multiply them together, that gives me 7x, which leaves me with the L, which is the last term in each bracket, and the last term in each bracket. So the 7 is the last one here, minus 2 is the last one here, multiply them together, and I get minus 14. Right, basically what we've done is we've multiplied everything by everything. Okay, if you look at what I've done here, first of all, I'm taking the x and I'm multiplying it by x, and then I'm taking the x and I'm multiplying it by the minus 2. Down the bottom here, I'm taking the 7, I'm multiplying it by the x first of all, and then I'm taking the 7 and I'm multiplying it by the minus 2. Okay, so everything in the first bracket is multiplied by everything in the second bracket. I get these 4 terms, right? What I want to do with these 4 terms is I want to add them all together. Okay, and that'll be the same all the time. So just pay attention to the fact that there's negatives here, but I'm going to take all of these, I'm going to add them all together, right? I've prepared a nice little PowerPoint for you to show this to you. Okay, as I said, I'm not doing this every single time because this takes me blooming ages. Okay, there you go. Right, I'm going to take all of these terms, we're going to add them all together. So you got the x squared plus the minus 2x plus the 7x plus the minus 14. Okay, and then everything we've been building up to, okay, is been involved apart from this gathering like terms. That's where this comes in. Okay, so you only really generally, depending on how the question is, but most of the questions will look like this. You're only really going to have 2 things that you can gather together at the end. X squared is different to x, just a standard x, so you can't simplify them together. So you're just going through, you're looking for all the like terms, You've got minus 2x's, you've got plus 7x's. That simplifies to give you 5x. So it's not necessarily going to tell you to simplify it. That's just implied. Now that you're in National 5, you're looking to simplify wherever you can. So the fact you've got a minus 2x and a 7x here, you can gather them together, add them, give you 5x. So the final answer here is x squared plus 5x minus 14. And that's it, okay? Right, so 3 examples, as I say, I'm not going to go through these in as much detail as I did that last one. So keep going back to that one. You can have that open on your screen when you're doing these questions if you need to. Okay, but these 3 examples are just kind of showing you a bit of a variety. This one is just obviously where we've just, very similar to the last one. This one's where we've got some numbers in front of the letters as well. And I'll come to this one in a second, okay? So the point is, I probably should have written something here, say multiply out the brackets, okay? But generally that's all we can do here. So if we're multiplying out the brackets, we are thinking FOIL, okay? As long as we've got 2 terms in each bracket, which we do in these cases, we're thinking FOIL. So we're multiplying the first terms together, so the x times by the x gives me x squared. The outside terms together, the x times by the 5 gives me 5x. The inside terms together, 3 times by x gives me 3x. And then the last terms together gives me 15. And all I want to do once I get to this stage is simplify it. All I can simplify is the 5x and the 3x, and that just gives me 8x, and that's it done, okay? Right, so for the second one, same idea. We're going along FOIL. So 2a times by 6a, 2 times by 6 gives me 12, a times by a gives me 12, or it gives me a squared, so it gives me a total of 12a squared. Then go through the rest of it. The outside terms, 2a times by 7 gives me 14a, minus 1 times by 6 gives me minus 6a, and then the last terms, minus 1 and 7 gives me minus 7. And again, just simplifying all that together, all I can do is the middle 2 terms, 14a minus 16a is 8a. Okay, just make sure you write everything else as well. 12a squared plus 8a minus 7. Right, for the last one, it's just a case of understanding what this means. Right, when we square something, we mean we times it by itself. So what we are squaring here is the 4y minus 9. So we are doing 4y minus 9 times by 4y minus 9. Okay, so all this is just an extra little stage for you to think about. You don't necessarily have to write this, but obviously if you're doing FOIL, it might help you. So 4y minus 9 times by 4y minus 9. Okay, now again, we're just back to FOIL. 4y times by 4y is 16y squared. 4y times by minus 9 is minus 36y. And then we're doing the same thing again. Minus 9 times by 4y, minus 36y. Just be careful here. It's minus 9 times by minus 9, which gives you 81. It's a positive there. Okay. Simplify all this together. 16y squared. If you take away 36y's and then you take away another 36y's, you're taking away 72y's. And you've got the 81 at the end there. Okay. So 16y squared minus 72y plus 81. Right, the work that I'm going to get you to do is based around this. There's a couple of other things involved as well, okay? But if you've got any questions, you can let me know.